Hello students, today we will study about deforestation. It is cutting down of trees on large scale, and why it is done? Basically for agricultural lands, building houses, industrial units, and for getting fuel, then wood, timber, many things are there which we can procure from the forest. So because of that deforestation is done. But yes, this deforestation is causing many harmful effects, and that is it is causing increase in the temperature, that is there, very harmful. So increase in temperature is one of them. Then there is less rainfall which can be there, higher pollution will be there because of deforestation. So higher pollution level, ground level water will decrease, imbalance in nature, loss of fertility in soil, soil erosion, and natural calamities like floods and droughts can be there. So all these are the results of deforestation. First is, if we cut down the tree, there will be chances of global warming. The temperature of the earth will increase because of the greenhouse effect that we have already discussed in previous chapter. Then there will be less rainfall because like trees, they help in transpiration, and that is very important step in water cycle. Pollution will increase, water level, that is groundwater level, will recede down, it will go down, and ultimately there will be loss of fertility, imbalance in the nature, and soil erosion because the roots, they bind the soil particles tightly. Now what is the conservation of forest? Forests are helpful to maintain the balance, ecological balance. Equilibrium means balance. So they are very important for maintaining the balance in the environment. Then what are the different ways of conserving the forest? So we have to do reforestation or afforestation. For that we have to plant more number of trees. We can prevent the forest fires also. This will also help to conserve the forest, and grazing in forest should be controlled. So all these steps should be taken for conservation of the forest, because forests are the natural habitat for many plants and animals, and it is said to be a hot spot of the biodiversity. Many varieties of plants and animals are there in the forest. Now next question is, what is ecosystem? It is a complete unit that consists of living creatures and non-living matters. This community of organisms interact with each other and their physical environment, including climatic changes, that is ecosystem. So basically ecosystem is the interaction of biotic and abiotic factor of the environment. If you see in this picture, you can see that there are biotic factors living here, and they have a close relationship with their abiotic factor like air, water, etc. So ecosystem comprises of two factors basically. One is abiotic and another one is biotic. Abiotic, that is non-living, where all the environmental factors are there, and biotic, bio means life, all the living creatures, and the living creatures can't they can't imagine their life without abiotic factors. So abiotic factors like water, air, soil, all these are environmental factors or abiotic factor, and biotic factor can't imagine their life without the existence of abiotic factor. So there is a close relationship or interaction between these two factors. Now next one is drought. Drought is the lack of water, or you can say lack of rainfall in any area, which leads to desertification also, and desertification is the formation of desert by the erosion of vegetation due to harsh weather. Human activities like deforestation, improper irrigation are also responsible for desertification. Soil erosion makes the land infertile as humus gets removed and the hard rocky surfaces get exposed. This causes basically desertification. And because of desertification, Now the land is unsuitable for growth of any plant or vegetation. Now global warming already we have discussed, but as a overview we will again discuss it. Global warming is change of climate on the global level. Usually average temperature increases leading to melting of ice caps in the pole, and this global warming is because of the greenhouse effect, and greenhouse effect is basically because of the greenhouse gases. Excessive pollution, deforestation ultimately causes global warming. Now very important is conservation, because this topic or this chapter is basically focusing on the conservation of plants and animals. So for them we need some protected areas like national parks, sanctuaries. So national parks are the protective areas which are reserved exclusively or mainly for the betterment of wildlife. Wildlife includes plants, animals, everything. And sanctuaries, basically these are also protected areas, and they are basically for animals. They are for the protection of animals. And here if you see in national parks, they are basically for the protection of wildlife particularly, that is plants and animals both. But in sanctuary they are for the animals basically, and examples are also given, you can learn. Now next protected area we have till now we have discussed about wildlife sanctuary, which is basically for animals. You can see poaching and capturing not allowed. The national park, you can see they are protected, not only wildlife but entire ecosystem is protected, plants, animals, everything is protected. Flora, fauna, landscape, historical objects, everything are protected here in national park. And if you see the third type of protected area, that is biosphere reserve, it may contain other protected areas in it. Biosphere reserves are huge and they may contain national park and wildlife sanctuaries in them. They are very huge. Now this is a good pictorial representation of biosphere reserve. As I told you that there are 18 biosphere reserves till date in India, and they have been divided because they may have other regions like national parks and sanctuaries. So if you see in this picture, just imagine that this is a biosphere reserve, and the biosphere reserve has been divided into core zone, then buffer zone, and then transition zone. Core zone is the innermost zone, then transition zone is outermost, and between these two we have got buffer zone. So if you see core zone, no human activity is allowed here, and if you see buffer zone, tourism, grazing of animal, that is allowed. And if you see transition zone, here human settlement and crop cultivation, everything is allowed. But in core zone, no human activity is allowed. So this figure will give you a objective of a biosphere reserve. If you see biosphere reserve, what is the aim of setting biosphere reserve? First aim is conservation of biodiversity and ecosystem, plants, animal, and the whole ecosystem and biodiversity is conserved. Second aim is development, association of environment with development. So the tourism, development, agriculture, all these things are also allowed. And logistics is also taken care of, that is international network for research and monitoring. So research work is also allowed. Even in the core region also higher level of research work is also allowed. So these are the aims of biosphere reserve. If you see Pachmadi Biosphere Reserve, this is the figure given in your book. If you see here, you have got in Pachmadi Biosphere Reserve, which is in Madhya Pradesh, you can see here Bori Sanctuary is also there. Then you have got Pachmadi Sanctuary also, and Satpura National Park is also there within the Biosphere Reserve. So you can see here two sanctuaries, Bori and Pachmadi, and Satpura National Park is there in Pachmadi Biosphere Reserve. Thank you very much.